Lions are 2 behind Minnesota in the NFC Central. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg with Dan Deerdorf. Welcome to Michigan. Here are the Lions. Charlie Batch, he says physically at quarterback, he finally is 100% or close to it.
Well, finally, Dick, because Charlie Batch broke a bone in his leg back in June. He had some screws put in there. He missed all the mini camps, all of training camp in the season opener, and is finally having his legs underneath him.
Well, for years, the Dolphins have talked about a running game. Now they have one, and this man, Lamar Smith.
Yeah, they finally have their feature back, and Dick, he's on a pace to break the Dolphins' single-season rushing record held by Delvin Williams.
And we move into the second half of this NFL season. Miami and Detroit.
The following presentation of the National Football League from CBS Sports, home of Super Bowl 35.
James Stewart, the former Jaguar, has put some roar in the Lions rushing game the past 4 games. Today he'll test a Miami defense minus Pro Bowlers Zach Thomas and Tim Bowens. We're back at the Pontiac Silverdome, and we go down to the field and Bonnie Bernstein.
Good afternoon, guys. For the first time in his 7-year career, Miami defensive tackle Tim Bowens will not play in a regular season game. He's had a bruised left foot for about 3 weeks, and this guy's got an amazing pain tolerance, but he told me at 11:15 this morning, I just can't go. Jermaine Haley starts in his place, but still, guys, a devastating blow to Miami's interior defense that's already without Zach Thomas and playing Daryl Gardner in just his 2nd game back from back surgery.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. And you can bet that Bobby Ross's offensive plan will be to send that running game right at the center of that Miami defense and test it out. Jason Hanson to kick it off to the Dolphins. J.J. Johnson and Autry Denson are deep for Miami. And we're underway in Pontiac. A booming kick into the end zone. And out comes Autry Denson, the former Notre Dame Fighting Irish running back. He's at the 50, and Denson gets Miami off on the right foot as he's finally bumped out of bounds at the Lions' 46-yard line.
Boy, this is a great look at a running back and the wedge forming in front of him. Watch how Denson nestles in right behind, makes his break as he's got 3 clean blocks right in front of him. And it is up to Jason Hanson, or this is a Miami touchdown to start this game. Hanson did his job, but not as well as Autry Denson.
Denson's longest of the year was 39 yards. That one for 56 yards. Jay Fiedler in his first year as the Miami quarterback out of Dartmouth with great field position to start at the 46-yard line. Leslie Shepard in motion. The handoff is inside, and it's Lamar Smith. He's on his way at the 20, and Smith scores. What a start for the Miami Dolphins. Untouched Lamar Smith as they fake the reverse, and Smith goes 46 for the touchdown.
Well, Leslie Shepard, you see him there at the top of the screen right there, the fake, and Lamar Smith seems to surprise everybody for the Detroit Lions. Todd Wade, their rookie tackle, Kevin Donnelly at right guard, and Tim Ruddy at center. Outstanding at the point of attack. Untouched Lamar Smith to the end zone. Jason Hanson made that tackle on Denson for nothing.
Extra point by Olindo Mare, and it's a lightning start for Miami. A long kickoff return and a 46-yard touchdown run. Lamar Smith and the Dolphins stunning this big sellout crowd in Pontiac, Michigan. First scrimmage play of the game. He goes 46 untouched, and that ends a string of 34 straight games for Detroit in which they have not allowed a touchdown on the opening drive. That was the longest active streak in the league.
Well, they fixed that by allowing a touchdown in the opening minute.
Terry Fair to return the kickoff. Desmond Howard, the brilliant return man for the Lions, is inactive today. Oh, an onside kick. It's covered, but and over the 40-yard line, and Miami comes out with a surprise onside kick, and it's covered by Terran Shaw, the defensive back, and the Lions weren't close to it.
Oh, this Silverdome crowd is sitting here and they are stunned. Maybe not as stunned as Bobby Ross, but they are stunned nonetheless. Just the little pooch finding the Lions in a retreat, trying to get down there and block. Oh, and that's just what a stunning way to start a football game. Talk about picking up some momentum on the road. Well, right now, Bobby Ross and his coaching staff are going to have to really do everything they can do to try to settle their club down, because, Dick, this is where everybody starts looking at one another.
Smith with a carry, gains 4 out to the 45-yard line, and Ron Rice comes up to make the tackle from his safety position.
Let's go back and look at the touchdown. Here's a defender that can make a play. Here's a defender. Both of them are going to get pulled over here because of the motion by Leslie Shepard. Great block at the point of attack by Rob Conrad, who gets Chris Claiborne out of it. And because of that motion, Lamar Smith has a straight run to the end zone. Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator, probably burned the lights a little late one night drawing that play up. It was a beauty.
Second down and 6. Fiedler chased out of the pocket. How did he get away? And he picks up a first down with a slide at the 48-yard line of Detroit. Chris Claiborne finally making the stop. The coach of the Dolphins wanted to start big in the first quarter. He says, we've got to quiet this noisy crowd. He feels it's the loudest in the NFL. First down, Fiedler. Underneath, complete to Smith. Breaks a tackle. Another. And finally wrestled down by Stephen Boyd, and the fans start booing as the defense unable to make the clean tackle. And here is that Lion defense. Up front, Porcher, Jones, Ellis, and Scroggins. The linebackers, Aldridge, Stephen Boyd playing on a very sore foot. Chris Claiborne. And in the back four, Bryant Westbrook and Terry Fair at the corners. Kurt Schultz, who leads the league with 6 interceptions, and Ron Rice at safety. Bobby Ross in his 4th year as the head man here in Detroit after 5 successful seasons in San Diego. Here's Smith, and this time Boyd and Ron Rice meet him shoulder to shoulder for no gain. Robert Porcher, the defensive end of the Lions, who led his team with 15 sacks a year ago. It's been already a very busy, hectic day for him. His wife went into surgery this morning for a kidney stone. She's 8 months pregnant. His wife, Kim, he had to arrive here by police escort, barely made it by game time. 3rd and 1. And Fiedler will spend a timeout. Ball at the Lions 37-yard line. 11:48 remaining in the opening period. Miami already up by 7.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Staples. Staples has everything you need at guaranteed low prices. American Express Small Business Services. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. And by E-Trade. It's your money.
Welcome back. The Dolphins with the ball at the Detroit 37. They lead 7-0. This is 3rd and 1. Bert Emanuel in motion. Lamar Smith leaping to the 35 and a first down. And with those 2 yards, Smith now with 683 rushing yards this season. That's his all-time high. He had 680 4 years ago when he was the running back in Seattle.
Amazingly, for this Dolphins team, it's not Larry Zonka, it's not Mercury Morris or somebody like that who holds the single season record. It's Delvin Williams, who set it back in 1978. And you see how Lamar through his career, where he has been, nothing spectacular there. And this 631 where he came in for today puts him at over 1,200. That would give him the Dolphins record. That's really a shock, isn't it?
Fiedler underneath, complete, and bumped out of bounds is Arande Gatson. His first catch. He's Miami's leader on the season with 31.
Well, you touched on Dave Wannstedt and wanting his team to get in here and keep this crowd quiet. Not many people on this Dolphins team have played in the Silverdome here, but Dave, of course, an expert. 6 years as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He was here every year, and it seems to be two different Detroit Lions teams. The one that plays on the road, the one who plays here at the Silverdome, and he knows how scary it can be here when you're behind.
On 2nd and 6, Conrad, a rare call for the fullback from Syracuse, the 255-pound Conrad, for a couple will bring up 3rd down and 2.
He was lucky 13. That was his 13th carry of the year. You're right. He's not a threat. I don't think the Detroit defense spent a whole lot of time this week saying we have got to shut down 44. Rob, I think a lot of people, when he was drafted in the 2nd round last year, a lot of people thought he was going to be a bigger part of the offense, both running and receiving. But he certainly has become an excellent lead blocker.
3rd and 2, Thurman Thomas in the game for Miami. Fiedler. What a nice catch by Leslie Shepard, and it's a 1st down at the Lion 20-yard line. So the Dolphins dominating early with a quick touchdown by Smith and the onside kick recovery, and now they're at the Lion 20.
Well, he's locked up with Lamar Campbell, who's their dime defensive back, and this was just an outstanding move. Shepard sold the post and then came back to the sideline. Campbell not able to react. Just a little bit of a lean to the inside and then back to the outside, and Campbell overplaying it to the inside. And right now somebody for the Detroit defense has to make a play. Somebody's got to step up and do something unusual.
Lamar Smith way out to the left. Fiedler, quarterback draw, 15, 10, and he's got 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Kurt Schultz was the last Lion to deny a touchdown to Fiedler.
Well, this play set up all the way. If Jay Fiedler sees no one in the middle of the Detroit defense, he's going to go. And that's exactly the case. They came to a blitz on the right side, and Kurt Schultz is left to make a touchdown-saving tackle. But Jay Fiedler, the way he runs, that's an option anytime he wants it if the middle of the dime or nickel defense is vacated.
12 more yards for Fiedler, who is close to 200 now for the year. 2nd leading rusher for Miami. From the 8, Smith up the middle, touchdown Miami, and the Dolphins making it look very easy to the frustration of these Lion partisans.
Well, Dave Wannstedt wanted to quiet the crowd. They're not quiet. They're booing the Lions. Again, take a look at this strong work up front done by the Miami offensive line. Mark Dixon, you see him getting the block right there. Richmond Webb, Ruddy, Donnelly, and Wade, they are dominating the line of scrimmage.
Lindo Mari's trying for a point, and Lamar Smith with his 7th and 8th rushing touchdowns of the season has given Miami a 14-0 lead. Still 8.5 left in the 1st quarter. Here at the Pontiac Silverdome, 8:31 left in the 1st quarter. There's a scoring drive, 59 yards in 10 plays with Lamar Smith his 2nd touchdown. A 14-0 Miami lead, and the Lions have yet to run an offensive play. Terry Fair back. This time Mare hits it long into the end zone. They'll take it out 3 yards deep. 10, 20, and 27-yard line for Fair, who had a couple of kickoff returns for touchdowns as a rookie. Make that Foster. Charlie Batch comes on the field for the first time. There are his ordinary numbers, but as he told us, he just now feels like he's about where you'd be the final game of the preseason after that knee fracture back in August. Actually in June, and missed most of the preseason. Give it to James Stewart, and Stewart out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. Here are the Lions offensively. with Stocker McDougal. He's the rookie from Oklahoma, has not been active all season. Compton, Beverly, Hardings, and 380-pound Aaron Gibson. 2 tackles were in their first year. Stewart and Schlesinger in the backfield. Morton and Moore outside, and David Sloan, the tight end. Pro Bowler last year. 2nd down and 7. Batch to Sloan, incomplete through the hands of the tight end, and Detroit doing very little positively here in this first quarter. Defensively, Miami sets up this way with Mixon, Haley for the injured Bowens, Gardner and Jason Taylor. Of course, Trace Armstrong and his 11 sacks will come in pass situations. Rogers, Izzo for Zach Thomas, and Robert Jones the backers. Surtain and Madison as good a pair of corners as there are in the league, with Marion and Walker hard-hitting safeties. Charlie Batch, good protection, incomplete, and almost intercepted. A flag down, and we may have interference on Brian Walker, as Johnny Morton was the Lion receiver.
Pass interference, 45, defense. Ball will be placed into the spot of the foul. First down.
Jeff Triplett, our referee today.
And if ever a team needed a break, it's the Detroit Lions, and they got one right here with this call. Well, you can see right there the hold right off the bat by Terrence Shaw. Shaw had a fistful of jersey right there, but Brian Walker came in and made the hit. But Detroit, anything right now is good news.
Otherwise, that would have been 4th down. The give is to Stewart, and he stood up. Good defensive surge by the Miami Dolphins. And 59, Derek Rogers up off the bottom of the pile. Jermaine Haley, 94, also in on the tackle. Ball out to the 44-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 9. Stewart played his college ball at Tennessee, acquired as a free agent, was with Jacksonville last year. Stewart again, and vaults to the 48-yard line of Miami before Brock Marion can make the tackle, a yard shy of a 1st down. Let's go to New York for this update.
All right, thank you, Dick. After a 17-play, 80-yard drive that took over 9 minutes, Curtis Enos scores his first touchdown of the season as the Bears score first against the Colts. Let's go back to Dick and Dan.
Thanks, Jim. 1-7 Bears. Curtis Enos scores a touchdown. That's something a lot of Bears fans thought they'd never cheer.
Looked like he had the old black high tops working for him too there. Now there's a throwback. That's some old-fashioned Bear football.
Lions 3rd and 1. Stewart able to plow to the 46 and a 1st down. Jason Taylor and Derek Rogers in on the stop. And the Lions trying to get some points out of their first possession.
And this is part of the Detroit game plan. They can't stray away from this, even though they're down 14-0. That is the fact that with Tim Bowens out, with Zach Thomas out, with Daryl Gardner just a game back after having had back surgery back in the middle of September, that is the part of the Miami defense that they must try to exploit. Down 14-0, that can't matter. You got to keep going.
Batch throws, and Sloan drops his 2nd pass. So tight end David Sloan, usually a very reliable receiver, has muffed a couple here in the first quarter.
Boy, and every Detroit mistake is now magnified because of this 2-touchdown deficit. The crowd here tolerating nothing less than perfection. Let's take a look at this again. David Sloan, normally sure-handed, wants to be a bigger part of the offense. He gets a good separation away from Robert Jones. Charlie can't do much more than that.
Here come the Dolphins, and the give is to Stewart, and Stewart to the 39-yard line, a pickup of 6. Taylor and Walker the tacklers.
And that again is what Detroit has to do. Don't give up on attacking the middle of the Miami defense. These are two teams, both of whom fell behind last week, Dick. The Lions down 23-0 to Indianapolis, almost came back and won. Miami was 17 points behind Green Bay, and they did come back and beat the Packers last week. So two teams that have a little experience being behind. Detroit, though, doing it with a little more regularity.
3rd down and 4. Mario Bates in for Stewart. A flag down. Bates is shy of the 1st down at the 36-yard line. Let's check the penalty.
I think those whistles were before the play.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, left guard. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Yes, Bobby, it's now a little bit tougher to pick up that 1st down. That's Mike Compton, the center, who moves over to left guard.
We invite you to log on to NFL.com and vote for the AFC and NFC All-Star teams for the 2001 Pro Bowl. Vote now, NFL.com. Charlie Batch at 3rd and 9 at the Miami 44. Out of the backfield, incomplete. Mario Bates, he was wide open. The pass was not on the side that Bates was anticipating.
No, that was not an accurate throw from Charlie Batch. Again, who admits that I'm just now starting to feel like I should feel towards the end of training camp. My legs just haven't been there. It's awfully hard to be a young quarterback and have to play in this league without having had mini camps and training camp, and it's obvious Charlie is still feeling the effects.
John Jeff's first punt. Jeff Ogden at the other end. Fair catch. Ogden, who returned 181 yards against Green Bay for a touchdown, takes the ball at the 14. Timeout. Beautiful November weekend here in Michigan. Apple growing time over there in Armada as we rejoin the action at the 14-yard line.
Over where?
Well, hometown. This is about the time I'd be out picking apples as a kid. 14-0. The Dolphins have certainly been picking them. Here's Smith. And he's out to the 25-yard line, and thus far the tackling by the Lions has been basically atrocious.
Boy, he's got a Rondé Gadsden out in front of him, and when Lamar Smith comes to a complete stop out there, you figure the play is dead, that they've got him pinned in, nowhere to go. Instead, he goes right between two Detroit tacklers and picks up positive yardage. When you string a guy and get him going parallel to the line of scrimmage like this, right here, he comes to a complete stop, and nobody hits him. Stephen Boyd came to a complete stop as well.
Smith now 72 yards in this first quarter on 6 carries, 2 touchdowns. He gets the call again, and they finally wrap him up for a loss back at the 22-yard line as Chris Claiborne, the second-year backer from Southern California, makes the stop. Well, Friday, the victim of the perfect murder is about to reveal her real killer from the grave. Don't miss an amazing episode of the season's highest-rated new drama, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation After the Fugitive, Friday on CBS. 3:20 remaining first quarter. Miami impressively off to a 14-0 start. 2nd down and a dozen. Fiedler to Conrad, and Conrad upended at the 25-yard line by Bryant Westbrook, the cornerback from Texas.
And that's the way to get a little excited. The Detroit defense here, try to get a little something going. It just starts with, there's so much football left in this game. Make a big hit. Get excited about doing it. Talk it up with your teammates. Chance right here on 3rd and long to make a statement. Give your offense some decent field position. And look at that. The crowd's getting into it a little bit.
Lions with only 14 sacks this year, and yet they lead the league in interceptions with 16. Fiedler, shovel pass to Thomas, and the Lions were ready. Lamar Campbell, an extra defensive back, was zeroed in on the veteran Thomas, and Miami will have to punt.
This was good flow, good execution. You see it right there, red at the point of attack. Scroggins turns it back to the inside, and then up really quick. Lamar Campbell really diagnosed that play very well. Now let's see. Desmond Howard isn't playing today. He's got a bad neck, And of course, I think everybody knows how dangerous he is, punt returning. Terry Ferris having to handle all of that today.
Matt Turk, a dying spiral, and it bounces out of bounds at the Detroit 37-38 yard line. And with it a timeout, 1:48 left in this first quarter. Miami by 40. (14-0). The Dolphins striking quickly here in the opening quarter. Now Detroit's second possession. They'll begin from the 36-yard line with third-year quarterback Charlie Batch at the controls. Johnny Morton in motion. Batch to Corey Schlesinger, and that's just a short gain of about 3. Derek Rogers makes the tackle. Let's go down to Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Jason Taylor ran off the field really quickly, and we were wondering where he was going. We now know he had an upset stomach, but he's back out on the field. So those 7 sacks, he's hoping to add on them right now, guys.
All right, thank you, Bonnie.
Well, it's one of the really interesting matchups today. Jason Taylor going against the rookie, Stocker McDougal, the #1 draft choice of the Lions. And you see Taylor still on the sideline. But McDougal wasn't even active for any of the first 8 games. This is his first taste of the NFL.
Reverse, and it's Morton, Johnny Morton, and holding his ground, Patrick Surtain. What a good job by Surtain. He saw it coming, held his ground, made a solid tackle. He's developing into one of the top corners in the NFL.
Well, here he is right down here. Here's Patrick Surtain, and watch how he stays at home. Rides his guy to the inside, but sees it coming. Look at the textbook form of that tackle. Holds his position, drives through his man. You know, he started last year. He took over for Terrell Buckley, and he's, you know, was started off as he was the other corner to Sam Madison. No longer. These two guys are equals.
3rd and 1. James Stewart picks up the first down. A flag down at midfield as Stewart moves to the 49. Surtain and Walker in the secondary make the tackle. Holding, though, against the Lions will deny the first down.
Well, Daryl Gardner, number 92, was being pretty demonstrative about the fact that he was being held.
Holding, 89, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
Walter Rasby, a tight end.
The Lions went too tight because of the short yardage situation. Let's take a look at it. He's out here at the right tight end. There's number 89, Rasby. Oh, yeah, he goes into a full tackle right there. Schlesinger comes in and has to clean it up a little bit, but plainly visible, Rasby from underneath had to drag down his guy.
So 3rd and 11 for Detroit. And that is the end of the opening quarter. And Miami, true to its game plan, off to a very fast start and a 14-0 lead. We'll return to the Silverdome right after this message. We go to the second quarter, 14-0 Miami. A reminder, stay tuned. CBS doubleheader Sunday and some very interesting matchups in Game 2. So stay with us here on the home of the upcoming Super Bowl. Foster, Larry Foster, rookie from LSU. He's split way out to the left. He gives the Lions some quickness and speed deep. The screen, however, goes the other side. And it's Mario Bates who's out to the 44-yard line. Not enough for the first down. It'll be 4th and 2. His opposite number, Brock Marion, made the tackle.
It's just the case, Dick, where you can't afford, when you're behind and you're scrambling to get back into the game, you can't afford to make mistakes. And the holding penalty on Rasby put the Lions back in a passing situation. They got good field position and weren't able to take advantage.
John Jett, the only NFL punter to be blocked twice this year, and he gets it away. It's a boomer. Jeff Ogden at the 6. And hit it 14, fumbles, but it goes out of bounds, and Miami will maintain possession as Kevin O'Neal, the special teamer, with a tackle and a fortuitous bounce for Miami.
Miami up 14-0 upon further review. Jeff Ogden was clearly down on the field. Watch him hit the ground still having the ball. So that really was not a fumble. So Lions fans, even if they would have recovered it, that would have been brought back and given back to Miami. So Jeff Ogden, who had an 81-yarder last week against Green Bay, took one in full stride and surprised everybody with his speed, straightaway speed, ran away from everybody.
Miami offense, you can see how they picked things up the last 4 games, and certainly in the first quarter, very effective. Fiedler throws from his own end and caught by Rondé Gatson, the leaping catch, and Gatson continues to be very impressive this season. When you consider the fact that at the start of the year you figured Tony Martin and O.J. McDuffie would be the wideouts, and these other fellas have really picked up the slack.
Yeah, Rondé Gatson, a big body at 6'2", 215, and when he elevates like that, but that's a part of his game. What kind of confidence is that for your quarterback when you know that you can lay one out there like that and you got a wide receiver that'll go get it? You know, we've seen the Lions, on the other hand, drop a couple easy passes, misfire on some short ones. That makes a quarterback smile from ear to ear.
Fiedler is perfect, 6 for 6, making 7 for 7 as Gatson, who 2 years ago was playing in the Arena League for the Portland Forest Dragons and signed by Miami, and what a pickup he's been.
I was a season ticket holder. Boy, they were fun to watch.
That flame out of the nose in the forest, though, that's dangerous.
The Forest Dragons. Well, that was Central Michigan's nickname, wasn't it?
No, come on now. You know.
I know.
You know.
You were the Chips.
Steeler rise!
The Chippewas.
And boy, did the Wolverines look good yesterday as well. Huh?
Dick, you're such a mean-spirited person.
Leslie Shepard in motion. Fiedler finds the tight end Weaver. Jed Weaver, who has caught only 2 passes all year, and he's all the way down to the Lion 25-yard line. 33-yard play.
Right now, the Miami Dolphins just having their way with the Detroit Lions. The play action freezes everybody. No rush whatsoever. And that is just way too much time to give your quarterback. We've got one of the Dolphins injured coming off the field, Richmond Webb, their left tackle. But gee whiz, Jed Weaver all the way down the field and into the Detroit zone. Richmond Webb, 7 Pro Bowls on his resume. He's been having some lower leg problems all year. Not sure what that is. Looked like he was shaking an arm a little bit.
Brent Smith replaces Webb. Fiedler inside to Conrad to the 24-yard line, a gain of only 1. It's 14-0 Miami here against Detroit. Jim, what do you have for us?
Well, guess what, Dick? The Ravens are in the end zone at last after going 0 for October. 322 minutes and 21 quarters on top of it without a touchdown. Brandon Stokely from Tony Banks. Ravens up 10-0 over the Bengals. Back to Dick and Dan.
All right, Jim. Baltimore now 5-4. We'll see them at Tennessee next Sunday.
And when they got off the snide as far as touchdown, I wouldn't have bet that the guy to score it would have been Brandon Stokely.
Well, that would have been a tough one to win. Screen by Fiedler to Smith, and Smith buried at the 21-yard line after a gain of 3. So Fiedler now is 9 for 9 in this first half to match a number on his back. Here is the AFC East, the most contentious of the standings, the divisions. Jets, Indianapolis, Miami tied for first. Buffalo at 4-4. New England 2-6. 3 out of the last 4 years, AFC East has sent 3 to the playoffs, and it looks as if that's going to happen again.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. It's the most competitive division in football. It has been for nearly 5 years.
3rd down and 7 for Fiedler as he goes long and over the head of O.J. McDuffie, well covered by Marquise Walker, an extra defensive back, and that'll send the field goal unit on for Miami. Olindo Mare.
Like we saw last week, how big a win was that for Buffalo to crawl back in at 4-4 and to get their first division win.
Mare, now with the qualifying 100 field goals, is the all-time accurate field goal kicker.
12 of 13 on the year.
This is 40 yards.
(13 of 14).
And Miami doing everything right. It's now 17-0 Dolphins. 10:52 left first half. Yeah, that fits the mood here at the Silverdome. Down 17-0 to Miami early in this second quarter as Terry Fair awaits Mare's kickoff as Miami goes 65 yards and settles for the 40-yard field goal and a 17-point advantage. Terry Fair at the other end, 1 yard deep. And he's brought down at the 22-yard line. Twan Russell, who is starred on the special teams, makes the tackle. A reminder, next Saturday, Lou Holtz has South Carolina on the move, and they'll be on the Home Depot College Football Show in the Swamp to tangle with the Florida Gators. It's an SEC shootout, and it all begins with Volkswagen College Football today. Lions need points, down 17-0. Batch, plenty of time underneath, short gain to James Stewart. Pickup of only a couple. Larry Izzo made the stop.
I hate to paint too glum a picture for Detroit, Dick, but one of the problems that they've had this year is going vertical with their passing game. First of all, their long threat, Jermaine Crowell, is going to be out for a couple of more weeks with an injury. Morton and Moore just aren't getting loose, and quite frankly, Charlie Batch hasn't shown a good touch yet throwing the deep ball. And here they are down 17-0, and what a handicap that is for Sylvester Croom, their offensive coordinator.
Batch down the middle, incomplete. Herman Moore was the nearest to Honolulu blue and silver jersey, but it wasn't close. Bonnie?
All right, Dick, the news on left tackle Richmond Webb for the Dolphins, a contusion on his left elbow. They put a brace on him. He should be going back in. That injury, by the way, not the same elbow he hurt in training camp. It's a different injury. Dick?
All right, thank you, Bonnie. Now Richmond Webb expected to return to action for Miami. A grizzled veteran out of Texas A&M.
Looks like they've got braces on both of his elbows now.
Third down and long for Batch. Sloan catches this one, and the tight end has a first down at the Detroit 45. Brock Marion with a stop along with Terran Shaw.
Well, there was a good looking right into double coverage. David Sloan was actually covered pretty well, and Charlie got that ball right in there. Take a look at that. Jerry Wilson underneath almost had a finger on the ball, and that was nice touch by Charlie Batch getting it over the top of Wilson. And anything you view as a monster success for the Lions right now. First downs are huge.
Stewart. And he's out for a couple of yards. Robert Lee Jones, number 52 from East Carolina, made the tackle.
Well, you saw Robert right there getting excited. He's been taking a little heat down in Miami. Dave Wanstead has challenged Robert that, Robert, your play's got to get better. And one thing about Robert Jones, if you know him, he's a stand-up guy, and he's the first to admit, I do have to play better. And that was a good start there.
He was a rookie of Dallas Super Bowl champions, 92, played for Wanstead as defensive coordinator. The screen to Stewart, 50, and he skips out at the 45-yard line right at the sticks. Surtain got him out of bounds with help from Sam Madison.
Well, he stepped out, and then it was lights out because James Stewart, off balance on one leg, really got popped at the sideline. Looked right here that if he'd have turned to see Patrick Surtain again right in the middle of things. And right here, that's Sam Madison, the other corner, who catches him off balance and pushes James Stewart all the way up in there. And a lot of the people on the Detroit end of the field thought that should have been flagged.
They mark it inside the Miami 45. First down. Batch dumps it incomplete to Stewart. Just as well he didn't catch it. There wasn't much there for him. But something is happening of interest, and we're going to go to New York and find out.
Yes, time for a little Flutie magic here, Dick. 7 plays, 84 yards, and it's Flutie to Remersma, and the Bills are leading at Foxborough 10-0. Back to Dick and Dan.
The Buffalo Bills, perhaps the best 4-4 team in the NFL, off to a good start. 2nd and 10, Detroit. Stewart bowls his way to the 37-yard line, a pickup of nearly 8 before Brock Marion comes up from a safety spot to make the tackle.
Now that's power football. There is power football and giving the football to a power back. Outstanding blocking at the point, but look at James. Look at him lower his shoulder, dig for another couple of yards, hard hitting on both sides of the ball right there. That's exactly what they were hoping to be able to do more of today. Of course, not counting on being down 17-0.
Stewart on 3rd down, and he's dumped in the backfield. Trace Armstrong and Daryl Gardner invade the Lion backfield, and Stewart loses a couple. It'll be 4th down and 5.
Well, this is a blown play because Trace Armstrong jumps inside of Aaron Gibson, and it's a dead play from that moment on. Gibson had Armstrong on the outside shoulder, allowed him to get to the inside, and because of that penetration, that play was a 0.
So they go for it, trailing 17-0, 4th and 4.
Why not?
Batch. Oh, what a catch by Foster. Larry Foster, 1st down at the 19, and the crowd comes to life at the Silverdome.
Why not? Jason Taylor hanging on Charlie Batch, actually jerking Batch backwards as he got off that shovel pad. Take a look at this. Jason Taylor unblocked, has Charlie by the back of the shoulder pads. Boy, that is some play by Charlie Batch, staying with it. Oh, and then a one-handed grab on top of it all by Foster, a rookie.
Undrafted free agent out of LSU, 20 yards on the play.
Good job, Bobby Ross, going for it on 4th down. You have nothing to lose.
Here's the reverse, and this is Foster again at the 10. And he fumbles the ball into the end zone, and Miami recovers for a touchback. Oh, my. Everything going well for Foster. Patrick Surtain stripped him of the ball, and now we'll see whether or not they're going to rule him down or not.
There's a penalty flag back about the 16-yard line. The flag came in late.
Appeared that Surtain just tackled the ball and pulled it right out of Foster's mitts. And then the fumble into the end zone. If the play stands, it'll be Miami's ball at the 20-yard line on a touchback.
Well, Sam Madison became the first Dolphin corner ever to go to a Pro Bowl when he did it last year. And I'm telling you something right now, that Patrick Surtain is going to become the 2nd Dolphins cornerback to go to a Pro Bowl. He and Sam are liable to just make that trip to Honolulu sitting side by side up in 1st class. Well, how critical is this?
There is no flag on the play for a chop block by the offense since it was a run. The ball was fumbled forward and into the end zone, recovered by Miami. Touchback. 1st and 10.
So the Lions offense showing some life with young Larry Foster making one good play, part of another, then the fumble. Miami has it again. Turnover as the cornerback Madison ripped it away, and his partner at the other corner, Surtain, recovered in the end zone, denying Detroit. Thurman Thomas in the backfield. And now the reverse to Leslie Shepard, and Shepard tackled at the 21-yard line, a gain of only 1. Let's go back to the Larry Foster fumble.
Well, it was really a good-looking play. Larry Foster picks up about 7. Watch from the right. Sam Madison's going to come in and just take the football. Madison actually is going to end up with possession, but his teammate, now watch from the left, Larry Izzo, he hits him and knocks the ball loose. Sam Madison actually just took the ball away, had possession. Izzo knocks it out, and then Patrick Surtain, the other corner, slides in the end zone for the recovery. What a play by Sam Madison.
2nd and 9, and Shepard incomplete as Stephen Boyd applies the cruncher. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
And that was a bad throw by Jay Fiedler back behind Shepard. That'll cause your receiver to get a migraine.
Boyd didn't practice much this week, so he had to do his work in the film room.
Jay throws that one way back behind Leslie Shepard, and he has no opportunity to defend himself. Yeah, you're right, Dick. Stephen Boyd is having to play with no practice. But much in the ilk of their former middle linebacker, Chris Spielman, Stephen Boyd is a bit of a throwback.
Out of the shotgun on 3rd and 9. Fiedler going long for Gadsden. And he incidental trip out at the 45 of Detroit, and the punting team will come on for the Dolphins.
Good no flag. Both guys going for the ball, and their feet just get entangled.
Turk, who is averaging 42.5 on the season. And Terry Fair at the other end for the Lions.
Turk doesn't even bother to fasten his chin strap. He's not allowed on the field without your chin strap buckled. That's a no-no. If one of the officials sees that, he ought to stop play. You are not allowed to play without a chin strap.
High, beautiful spiral. Fair at the 28. And brings it back about 10 to the 38-yard line before Michael Hamilton, the linebacker, can make the tackle.
No fair catch at Fair, is it?
47 before the intermission. And the Lions ball at the 39. And it's Stewart to the 40, to the 50, and a first down. 11 yards for James Stewart. Madison and Marion make the tackle.
Well, Detroit had the play called in the right direction. They were going right at Jason Taylor. Take a look at this. Jason Taylor's right over. He's down on a knee looking in the backfield, and the ball snapped. It's pretty tough to play the run very well from that position. Jason, for some reason, wasn't aware of the fact Detroit was getting ready to snap the ball. Not exactly the way they teach it.
First down, Lions at midfield. Charlie, who needs a batch of points, goes long. And Morton can't come down with it. Johnny Morton leaping high to try to take it away from Marion. But Marion playing it solidly. A veteran from Nevada.
And Charlie just threw the ball too late. Johnny Morton has about a 10-yard window there where he is open. But Charlie, looking the other side of the field, doesn't see Morton until too late. And then Brock Marion almost plays it like a punt. But Johnny Morton had about a 10-yard window there between the zone.
And we have a flag on the play against Detroit. Didn't see the flag thrown. Oh, there it is. Against Morton, apparently.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 87. 15-yard penalty.
So Johnny Morton.
Well after the play. It'll be 2nd down.
Well, after the play on Johnny Morton reacting to the fact that he was unable to make this catch.
Well, it was an excellent play by Brock Marion. Johnny Morton, I don't know what he's upset about. He's complaining to the official.
And must have used the wrong language.
Well, I don't know why Brock Marion certainly did nothing wrong.
Batch fires complete to Sloan, and Sloan battles his way to the 41-yard line, and a gain of well over 20 yards, almost a first down before Marion can get him out of bounds. That was the best throw of the game for Batch.
Certainly was, and he's finally starting to zero in on David Sloan, who comes all the way across. You see him right there and gets that's obviously a mix-up right there between Brock Marion and Robert Jones. And the Dolphins have had problems covering the tight end and the backs. Green Bay really exploited them last week. They were going to tighten that up this week, but they certainly didn't do so there.
Stewart has the first down as he burrows inside the 40-yard line. As clock ticks down to the 3:24 mark in this first half. 17-0 Miami. Reminder, get live updates for each NFL game as it happens. Click on live scores at cbs.sportsline.com. Miami trying to go 7-2 and stay at least in a share of first place in the AFC East. The Lions are 2 behind Minnesota. Detroit at 5-3. And Stewart, not much there, as filling the hole was Larry Izzo. Izzo for the injured Zach Thomas. He's only 5'10", about 225, but they've always loved his tenacious nature.
Yeah, he's been a special teams player, and that's really where he hangs his hat. And Larry he's going to be a free agent at the end of this season, and he would like people to know that, hey, I am capable of doing more than just covering punts and kickoffs. Well, he's getting an opportunity to kind of display his wares here a little bit.
Batch pumping and tackled from behind at the 35-yard line by Derek Rogers. Stalker McDougal, the young tackle, trying to help him with a block. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 6. 2-minute warning here at the Silverdome, where Miami enjoys a 17 back at the Silverdome. And Dan, we won't be able to say that a couple of years from now as they move downtown to Ford Field.
Much smaller stadium, about 65,000 compared to the 80,000 that they have here in Pontiac, and that's a much more manageable number. Now, what's also manageable right now for the Lions, Dick, if they can get a score here, they can talk about the fact at halftime that we almost had another score if we wouldn't have fumbled the ball into the end zone, and Miami's offense is such that they're not going to run away and hide from us. So I'm sure Bobby Ross, if he can just put some points on the board here, can sell that to his team.
They have 3 timeouts left. Detroit, 2 minutes to go. Flag down. And that usually means false start on the offense.
False start. Offense. Right side of the line. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
A reminder coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Jim, Mike, and Craig have all the scores and highlights, the latest NFL news, and a look ahead at the second game of our doubleheader on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. 4th penalty against Detroit for 35 yards, moves them back to the 40-yard line and brings up 3rd down and 12. Incomplete, and no flag.
Trying to find Herman Moore over there on the far sideline, and Herman ends up on the ground. All right, let's take a look at this. Locked up with Terrence Shaw, who comes in on a nickel situation. Shaw tries to grab him. And right there, now Herman Moore is nursing a bad foot. And it looked like when he went to make a cut around the corner, like it just gave out on him, and he went down to the ground.
He's disappeared from this Lion offense as John Jett sends it toward the goal line, and unable to down it inside the 5 was Lamar Campbell. It'll be a touchback, Miami at the 20-yard line. Friday on CBS, the fugitive is taken hostage. And guess what happens next? Tim Daly stars in the all-new Fugitive Friday at 8, 7 Central on CBS.
And you're right, Dick. We talked about that. You see Jim Zorn there on the left, the quarterback coach here in Detroit. What a wonderful career he had with the Seattle Seahawks.
He still looks young, doesn't he?
He sure does.
And he can throw the ball. We saw him in practice on Friday. He can still fire it in there.
I remember when we played them the first year in 1970. He was playing pitch and catch with his number 80 guy.
What was that?
Who the heck is that guy?
An old congressman.
Yeah, we didn't know he was going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Steve Largent.
Lamar Smith, who got this game off to a rocking Miami start with a touchdown run of 46 yards on the first play from scrimmage to give Miami a 7-0 lead in the first minute, and then scored again from 8 yards up the middle for a 14-0 first quarter lead, and Mare's 40-yard field goal making it 17-0. Smith out rushing Stewart, as you can see, and a couple of touchdowns. Now has 8 rushing touchdowns for the year.
And with the lead, one is to assume that Lamar Smith is going to see a lot more of the football from here on out.
Second down and a long 2. And right to the 30-yard line, and maybe shy as they mark it. Close to a first down.
There's no better way to pad your rushing stats and be up by a couple of touchdowns. Grind it out, run down the clock. And the Dolphins got up to the line here quickly.
And the flags fly. Just a note here on Miami rushing. 7 games this year now with 100 yards rushing. 7 out of 9 games. They had only 8 all of last year. So things have changed with Wannstedt.
False start. 78. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down. With the clock running inside of 1 minute and a false start by the offense requires a 10-second runoff. Please reset the game clock to 26 seconds. Thank you.
That keeps you from intentionally jumping off sides to try to regroup.
So as we move into the second half of this NFL season, Jim, Mike, and Craig with all the scores and highlights on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Stay tuned, and of course with us later today for the second half of our CBS doubleheader. Fiedler has the first down. He doesn't look that big, but Fiedler carries 225 pounds, and he's heavily muscled legs. He's a good runner.
And Dick, I think if you're the St. Louis Rams, you try to score some more points before halftime. But Dave Wannstedt, he's got the defensive football team. He's more conservative by nature. That's exactly what he wanted.
17-0 at the intermission. Bonnie?
All right, Coach, obviously stopping Lamar Smith is a premium. What do you do to turn that around?
Well, we haven't done anything, Bonnie. Offense, defense, fumble the ball on the goal line. We got to wake ourselves up. We're going to need a good waking up here to start the second half.
All right, Coach, thanks.
Well, you got the essence there. Way to go, Bonnie. You get the silver star for putting the microphone in front of Bobby Ross.
And hard to disagree with Bobby's assessment of his team's play in the first 30 minutes.
Stay tuned for the NASDAQ.com. At the break, leading 17-0 on the legs of 229-pound Lamar Smith. First play of the game from scrimmage, 46-yard touchdown. 1 of 2 for Smith in the first half. Will continue after this word from your local. Quickly, a touchdown first play of the game, and then an onside kick, and another in the first 6.5 minutes led 14-0, Dan.
And Detroit, they had the one spurt where they got close. It looked like they had a chance to score and get back into the game. I'm sure they took quite a beating from Bobby Ross in the locker room at halftime. Here are the stats from the first half. You see that Miami over 200 yards. Again, though, it's just the mistakes by Detroit. Here's how it happened. On the very first offensive play of the game for Miami, Lamar Smith takes it in from 46 yards out for a score. On their second possession, they drive it right on down, and again it's Smith jamming it in. And Olindo Mare, 13 of 14 on the year, Dick, and it has been a very efficient half for Miami, but it has been almost the absence of any threat whatsoever by Detroit.
Interesting that Dave Wannstedt, when we talked to him yesterday, the first thing that came up, not the Lions, he still wanted to talk about the Jets game, that disaster on Monday night. He said had 6 penalties in the fourth quarter. How do you think they stopped the clock? And still burning about that loss, but nevertheless coming back last week and playing a great half here today. Terry Fair comes up to the 12. Fair, 25. And buried in 28, and a fumble, ball loose. And Lions, the way this game has been going, can ill afford to cough it up on the first play of this second half. It appeared to be Izzo, number 53, in there first to make the hit, and the Miami Dolphins recover.
Bobby Ross is watching his team just self-destruct on special teams. They open up the game by allowing Miami to run it all the way beyond midfield. Now they open the second half with another special teams mistake. There is Larry Izzo. He makes the hit. Oh, and that's not the hit that jarred the ball loose. That was the shot that brought forth the fumble. by Terry Fair, who was not, as you could see, he was not down.
And the takeover at the 28-yard line for Miami. So they start the game with the first play from scrimmage, a touchdown run, a great kickoff return by Denson. And here's the second half falling Miami's way. Also, Lamar Smith wrapped up at the 29-yard line after a gain of 1. Chris Claiborne with the tackle.
Let's look at that fumble one more time. Larry Izzo makes the initial hit. There's Izzo, number 53. But then right there is the blow that knocks it out. Boy, look at that shot.
Deion Dyer.
Yes, sir. Their reserve fullback, Deion Dyer. And the reason he's on this team is for his special teams play. And boy, that was some pop.
So 2 turnovers go to Miami against a team that had forced more turnovers than anyone in the NFL at the start of this day, the Lions. Fake, and then the screen back to Smith, and he is wrapped up by Boyd. The veteran Stephen Boyd read it all the way. I wonder what happened at halftime. Bonnie, you have a report.
Well, I can't even imagine the look on Bobby Ross's face after that fumble, because when I saw him come out of the locker room, he was still absolutely livid. He says, we have not tackled worth a darn yet. We stopped 3 offensive drives with penalties. We can't do that. On the other side of the ball, Dave Wanstead said, yeah, we got good field position early. We ran the ball. But as far as I'm concerned, this game 0-0.
Well, especially after that Jets experience, he's not going to count his chickens.
It's always easier to say it's 0-0 when it's really not.
On 3rd down and long, it's Thurman Thomas finding some room and still on his feet. And finally tackled at the 20-yard line, 2 yards shy of a first down. 10 yards for Thomas, who continues to move up the all-time rushing list.
Boy, and this is not what you ordinarily think of when you think of Thurman. Power running to the, but look at Thurman. Get into traffic, keep the legs driving, put the shoulder down. In fact, that's Thurman Thomas. This may be his 13th year in the league, but you know something? He's still got some life, and that is a current stat: 12,045 yards at number 9 spot. Chasing Franco.
Yep, only 76 to pass Franco. The field goal try, 38 yards by Mare, and it is just inside the right post. So the fumble on the opening kickoff of the second half leads to 3 more Miami points. So Miami able to convert the fumble recovery as Fair coughed it up, and a 38-yard field goal by this man, Mare, to make it 20-0. You see, they dominated their opponents in the 3rd quarter, Miami, all season. Fair with another chance. And doesn't run a foul on that one. He's out to the 32-yard line where Terrence Shaw makes the tackle.
Well, 2 turnovers today by Detroit. One of them came in the first half right here when Larry Foster had a chance to score. He got so close and stripped by Sam Madison. And then this big hit right there by Deion Dyer forces the ball loose from Terry Fair, who again is having to do return duties today because Desmond Howard, their number 1 return guy, isn't able to go today because of a bad neck that he injured last week.
Charlie Batch, he fires, and is it a catch at the 40-yard line as Johnny Morton skids and has an 8-yard gain. Morton, who started today leading the Lions with 32 receptions. That's his first of this game.
And Herman Moore, the other wide receiver, is almost become invisible here in Detroit. As hard as that is to imagine.
All-time receiver Herman Moore in Lion history.
Jermaine Crowell is their main guy, but he's hurt.
Stewart for 6 and a first down out to the Lion 46-yard line behind Aaron Gibson, the 380-pound offensive tackle from Wisconsin. There he is, blocked for Ron Dane in his Heisman year. He is all big.
Take a look at some of the numbers that go with Aaron Gibson: an 18 shoe, a 56 pants, a 6 XX. That's a he may very well, Dick, be the biggest player that's ever walked on an NFL field.
Batch is thrown down by Daryl Gardner as Gardner has his first full sack of the season after sitting out several games with that herniated disc.
Daryl Gardner just came back last week. Not a great explosion off the line. It just stays with it. Just kept working and worked his way upfield, and Batch unable to find anybody downfield. Ended up having to take the sack. Daryl had surgery on September the 15th. Came back just about on schedule, but you know he's probably no more than 75 or 80% back.
Second down and 15. And flags go down with the snap. I'm talking about the size of Gibson. It reminds old timers here in Detroit. And wait for this announcement.
Snap. False start. 77 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The last Lion championship was the NFL championship 43 years ago in 1957. And back in that era, in the 50s, when the Lions won 3 times, their big man was a fellow named Les Bingaman. And at that time, he was the largest. He sat around 350 pounds. He would just sit in the middle and grab the center and 2 guards and say, you guys got the rest.
And Les may have held on to that record for 3 or 4 decades. Nobody approached that size for a long time.
On second down and a bunch. Batch, nobody open, has to eat it again at the 35-yard line. And the booze chorus down again from these 80,000 seats.
And again, Dick, it's just a case of it's just hard for Detroit to get anybody open. Let's take a look at, you're Charlie Batch, you're looking downfield, you're trying to find somebody to throw. Look at the coverage here, look at the cut. Now here he's got an open guy, and let's see where he ends up. And he does have an open receiver to the far side of the field, but Charlie eats the ball. Armstrong and Taylor collapse on him.
And Trace Armstrong, we'll see whether he gets a half or a full sack. He had 11 coming in, one under the NFL high. And there's another sack, and Armstrong is right there, although Gardner got a piece of the quarterback first.
And this is a passing game, a downfield passing game that you have to agree is just in total disarray. They just can't get the ball downfield with any consistency. Nobody's buying the pump fake. Charlie tries to head upfield. Daryl Gardner, who really didn't force him out of the pocket, just waited on him, and he came right to him.
Jeff Ogden back at the 20-yard line as John Jett sends a driving spiral. 17-yard line. 20, 30. 40, and Ogden, who had the 81-yard touchdown return last week against Green Bay, gives Miami terrific field position again on a 24-yard return. And welcome back, Tim Bowens, not active today with that bad foot, but hasn't been missed thus far as the Dolphin defense has shut out the Detroit Lions. Stephen Boyd leads that charge against Lamar Smith. And tonight on CBS, a letter marked urgent usually means someone is in urgent need of your money, and no one plays that game better than politicians tonight on 60 Minutes. Well, the rushing game for Miami in the last 2.5 games, they've rushed for 465 yards. That's the best stretch running the ball in 10 years for the Dolphins. Second and 11. Fiedler to Conrad. And he's tackled at the 48-yard line. Will bring up third down and 3 as Boyd, despite the injury, and on another stop, Kurt Schultz assisting.
Well, you really have to admire Stephen Boyd. His offense is showing no signs of being able to score, and this is where you really declare your professionalism by being able to play tough football in a situation like that. And Kurt Schultz and Stephen Boyd meet at Rob Conrad. And Conrad, he's no small target at 255 pounds. When he turns it upfield, that's a load.
Third and 3 for Fiedler. And he's wrapped up by James Jones. Second sack of the season for the 10-year veteran from Northern Iowa.
Well, Detroit's defense certainly hasn't quit. This is good work, though, by the Lions secondary, because Jay can't find anywhere to go with this football. He looks left, he looks right, he comes back to look left again. And by that time, Jones is all over him.
But that's what Dave Wanstead likes about Fiedler.
Yeah. No carelessness with the football. No soft little toss over the middle.
It's all right to get sacked. Eat it once in a while.
That's exactly right. I see Turk finally button his chin strap here.
Fashion police were alerted by you, Dan. No fair catch, and he's tackled by Greg Jeffries at the 23-yard line. Now the Lions have it again. 7 minutes left in the third, trailing by at the third quarter here at the Silverdome, and the Miami Dolphins leading at 20-0. Detroit ball at the 22. Charlie Batch and the Lions need some points. James Stewart, a gain of a yard. That's all.
Well, we talk about special teams, and let's take a look at this play right here. This is Greg Jeffries. This is how you outrun the attempt to be blocked and come around the corner. Look at this hustle by Jeffries as he gets Terry Fair from behind. Now here's the other side of it. Two rookies going at it right here. Watch Trent Gamble as he gets clocked right there by Larry Foster. That is the other side. There's no glamour there.
Special teams tacklers earn their minimum pay. Broken up by Derek Rogers, intended for the fullback Corey Schlesinger, and that'll bring up 3rd and long for Detroit.
And again, this is Miami just sitting on all of the short routes and the short patterns by Detroit. They don't fear Detroit going long. So that, of course, makes it all the more difficult to get a fullback out into the flat right there, like they tried to do with Schlesinger. What a mouthful that is. But again, it's their inability to stretch the field. Nobody fears the long passing game of the Lions.
Very modest numbers for Charlie Batch, 8 for 16. And he's brought down after a scramble of a couple. Daryl Gardner and Kenny Mixon.
Did his head hit the turf? Boy, I think Charlie Batch on that tackle, I thought I saw his helmet bounce off the ground. Boy, watch the end of this play. Charlie can't find anywhere to go. Watch the conclusion of this tackle. Ooh, right boy. There. Jason Taylor dragged him down, and Charlie Batch is still down. He's still feeling this.
Yeah, that might be a TKO. You see him reach up and grab the helmet as if.
That is a stunning hit to the head. This is artificial turf here inside the Silverdome. It yields not one bit.
CBS is sponsored by Samsung. Welcome to the Samsung digital experience, where everyone's invited. And by the motor oil that provides maximum protection. Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
And welcome back as they attend to Charlie Batch. He conscious but woozy after that slam on the artificial carpet here at the Silverdome. From Eastern Washington, Jeff Ogden back for the punt by Jeff, and it's blocked again. That's the 3rd one this year, and covered by Sam Madison out at the 41-yard line. As breaking through was Brock Marion. As we said earlier, John Jett's the only punter in the league that has been blocked more than once this year, and now that's his 3rd.
Take a look coming from the left side of your screen. There comes Brock Marion right around the corner. And of course, the 8-year veteran, he knows, but you just can't allow a guy that soft corner like that. Jets turning and kicking that direction. And again, that's just hard to imagine that a punter in the NFL getting it blocked 3 times in one season.
And that, it doesn't belong on the punter's shoulders necessarily. That breakdown and blocking as well. Not all the kicker's fault. So at the 41, Miami again. Lamar Smith protecting the football to the 37-yard line, leading 20-0 here with 5 minutes plus remaining in the 3rd quarter. And a reminder, game 2 of the doubleheader. There are the games here on CBS, and Kansas City Oakland game will be at Dandy in the West and Denver and the Jets. The Jets watching this game with interest as they are tied with Miami and Indianapolis for the lead in the AFC East. And at last report, the Bears were beating up on the Colts. Smith with 82 yards today, better than his average. 2nd and 5. Finds a hole. He was close to his 3rd touchdown. Had he kicked free from Kurt Schultz, he had open ground on the right sidelines.
Well, life is good when you're up 20-0 and you're the feature back for an offense because you know you're going to get the football. Well, look at the outstanding blocking up at the point of attack by Donnelly and Wade and Ruddy. Conrad, this is the luxury of protecting a lead and actually getting to exercise what you've been working on now for several years, ever since Jimmy Johnson came to Miami, to reinvent this football team as a running football team.
Smith with 93 yards rushing in the game, battling to get back to the line of scrimmage on that occasion. Let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Dick, 1st and goal at the 1. Patriots looking to go in and tie it, and John Freeze in for the injured Bledsoe. Picked off by John Holisick. Bills hold on to that 7-point lead. Back to Dick and Dan.
Wade Phillips.
Wow.
Boy, that's like finding money when you can pick one off in your own end zone.
Well, it looked like Holisick looked like he actually took it away from one of his own guys. Looked like Bledsoe threw that into 3 members of the Buffalo defense.
John Freeze in for Bledsoe.
Sorry, John Freeze. Excuse me.
2nd down. Fiedler off to Smith. And he's tackled forward, and perhaps enough for a 1st down. He's inside the 15. Bonnie?
Dick, mild concussion for Charlie Batch. His return is probable. Pretty surprising considering the fact that I was standing at the 25-yard line, and when his head hit the ground, there was a convincing thump on the turf.
All right, Bonnie, good news that Batch not seriously injured, but unlikely to play. We'll see. His backup warming up, Stoney Case from New Mexico, is just by 1 link shy of a 1st down.
Well, remember, Stoney Case had to play in the opener this year because Charlie Batch still had not recovered from the leg surgery that he had in June. There were Stoney's numbers in that 1st game of the season.
So on 3rd down, Miami with the ball right on the Lion 20-yard line. Very patiently using as much of the clock as they can with a 20-0 lead. 3rd and an inch. And Fiedler sneaking ahead, able to get to the 14-yard line, and that should be enough for the 1st down as Stephen Boyd led the charge.
Yeah, Jay had it comfortably, although then he got repelled and bounced back about a yard or so. He gets well across, and here he's going to come back in a hurry. But forward progress is what counts. He gets in there, and boy, Stephen Boyd, look at him drive in there and knock Fiedler back.
Those are 2 old battlers from Long Island. They played against each other as kids and in a high school all-star game.
Although they seem to disagree on who got the better of whom.
1st down, and Luther Ellis, the star defensive tackle of the Lions, makes the play on Lamar Smith. But Ellis has had a quiet game thus far, although regarded as one of the top defensive tackles in the league.
Well, it helps the blocking. A complete mistake on the Dolphins offensive line. Kevin Donnelly, the right guard, I'm not saying it was his fault, but he pulled out to get around on the corner as a lead blocker, and nobody took his place to block Luther Ellis.
A starter in the Pro Bowl last year, Ellis, 6'5" and 305 out of Utah.
There's another guy, Dick, that missed the preseason here in Detroit. He had elbow surgery and wasn't ready to go until the regular season.
On 2nd down, Fiedler to the end zone and wide open. Incomplete to Gadsden, and Kurt Schultz got over there just in time to knock it away. Terry Fair covering as well, but Schultz helping out from the free safety position.
Well, this ball stayed in the air a long time. It's just a pitch and catch, and actually Gadsden had the ball, had it right on his hands, and then Schultz took it away and knocked it out. I'm sure Gadsden's looking at that ball coming at him going, please hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. That's where it looks like it's suspended in air, Dick.
And that blue jersey is moving very fast. So 3rd and 16 with Conrad in motion. Flag and false start.
No play.
Jay Fiedler is 12 for 16 in the game.
False start. Offense, 65. 5-yard penalty.
Kevin
Remains third
Donnelly.
down.
Let me go back and take one more look at the play in the end zone here. Gadsden going up for the ball, and Kurt Schultz going right underneath him. Actually, with his helmet and his shoulder pad, knocks the ball out of the hands of Gadsden. But boy, Oronde Gadsden, what a story he has become for the Miami Dolphins. Uses that big body to shield himself. He's an excellent leaper. And as we documented, with the absence of their #1 guys, has really stepped up.
On 3rd and long, Smith running through tackles down to the 13-yard line. And what a game for this 7-year veteran out of the University of Houston, Lamar Smith. He's a super silent guy, but he speaks with his actions.
Now 4 years in Seattle, 2 years in New Orleans, and now by far and away the most productive of his 7 years in the NFL he's having right now with the Dolphins. But again, he's getting great work by the guys up front.
A yard shy of the century mark for Lamar Smith and a couple of touchdowns. Murray now for his 3rd field goal try from 31 yards out. Well, Murray is 3 for 3 and now 15 for 16 on the season. And hold it, there's a flag down. And let's see if they're going to count this one or whether Murray will have to kick again. Appears to be.
Well, nobody from the Dolphins kicking team is leaving.
Holding. Offense, 83. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Tight end Hunter Goodwin grabbing someone. Dave Wanstead trying to find some humor in it all.
Only a coach up 20 points can smile, although you'd think Dave would learn not even to do that.
After the Jets debacle.
One of the good guys in the NFL.
He sure is. 41 yards this time, and Murray splits it anyway. He is made all but one of his 16 tries this season, and that makes the mountain all the higher for the Lions to climb. 23. It's an ominous lead for Miami and the fans in South Florida. 23 points, because 2 weeks ago against the Jets going into the 4th quarter they led by 23, seemed assured of a win, and then lost in overtime.
And you saw Charlie Batch sitting on the bench. Stoney Case is going to come in and quarterback the Detroit Lions. Charlie is looks like he's done, if not for the rest of the game, at least he's done for now.
There's Case, who played his college ball at New Mexico, a native Texan out of Odessa.
And we talked about he had to play during the opener. Well, they won that game. They beat the Saints down in New Orleans, and as New Orleans has proven, that's not so easily done the way the Saints are playing this year.
Well, that is certainly one of the biggest surprises of this NFL season, and Jim Haslett going to get some Coach of the Year votes. Terry Fair waits. Murray spins it down to the 5. And Fair stopped cold at the 24-yard line. Michael Hamilton and others in on the tackle, and here comes Case. He was quite a career at New Mexico, where he had 8,000 career passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. He's named after a rodeo cowboy, Stoney Case, from the TV series.
And he gets the obligatory cheers from the crowd. You know, the most popular guy on the team, the backup quarterback.
Named after the TV characters Stony Burke and Batch. Doesn't make the headache feel any better.
Didn't Jack Lord play Stony Burke?
You got it. You want to try for 2,000.
Book him, Dan.
James Stewart pounds it out. 11 yards and a first down. Robert Jones makes the tackle as we come to the final seconds of this 3rd quarter.
Is there enough time for Detroit? Not on what we've seen, but 15 minutes is enough for just about any team in the NFL to score enough to get back in this game.
Single back is Stewart, who has 60 yards rushing. Case's first throw, a short gainer to Herman Moore, and Moore finally has a catch with Surtain covering. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter, with the Miami Dolphins holding An impressive 23-0 lead will return to the Silverdome right after this word from your local state. Dolphins, who started this season very stingy defense, allowed only 3 touchdowns first 6 games, and they've shut out the Lions through 3 quarters. Stoney Case on 2nd down and 5 at the Detroit 40 to start the 4th quarter. And he hits Herman Moore, who has a first down at the Miami 45. Surtain on the coverage.
Well, Pat Surtain comes in to cover the slot, and that's exactly where Herman Moore lined up that time. And again, talk about a big body. Herman at 6'4". You see Surtain playing him to go to the sidelines, and there's Noble linebacker help to the inside when Herman curls it up short.
The all-time Lion receiver started this year with 626 catches. Yeah, good effort by James Stewart. He had to find a hole and did for a gain of 5, and we'll take it to New York for this report. Jim?
Well, the Lions NFC Central rivals, the Bears, blowing out the Colts, but Indianapolis is in for the first time today. Edgerrin James from a yard out. They also converted a 2-point pass to Marcus Pollard. 27-8 Chicago entering the 4th. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Jim. And of course that impact on fans watching down in Miami. Throw underneath to Sloan, and the tight end to the 20, and a Lion first down. Brock Marion made the stop.
And again, that's what we talked about, Miami and their woes of covering the tight end and the backs out of the backfield. That time it's Robert Jones. Take a look there to the left of your screen, number 52. You see he's late coming back in to pick up David Sloan. And you can't allow the tight end that clean a release off the line of scrimmage, especially a guy as talented as Sloan.
Stewart. And it was Brian Walker coming up from his safety spot to deny a yard loss on the play. Bonnie Bernstein.
Well, Dick, the Dolphins consulted some NFC teams for some tidbits on the Lions, Green Bay, Tampa. They said the biggest piece of advice was a warning about David Sloan. They said, don't underrate this guy. He was a Pro Bowl tight end last year. He's been hobbled by a sprained foot and missed much of camp, but he had his best game of the season last year, catching 4 balls against the Colts, and has 3 big ones today.
For 64 yards, a man who didn't play football until a sophomore in college, was a basketball star in high school. Case incomplete into the flat for Sloan.
Well, he got hit from behind. I couldn't tell if he got hit while he was in the middle of making the throw or a fraction of a second afterwards. Jason Taylor with pressure from the backside. Jason Taylor there just to the top of your screen. Whoa, my Lord, look what he did to McDougal. He just took Stocker McDougal, all 350 pounds of him, and threw him flat on his back. Taylor coming from the backside, Trace Armstrong right at the feet of Stoney Case. Well, he taught the rookie a lesson there.
He's about 90 pounds lighter than McDougal is Taylor. 3rd down. Case underneath to Moore. And Moore has the Lions as close as they've been all day. 1st and goal at the 7.
And finally, somebody is starting to find Herman Moore. Hard to believe that he's become such a small part of this Detroit offense. But on this series, at least, Herman is back.
All 3 of his catches here in the 4th quarter.
And he only had 15 coming into the game, Dick. That's just 18 catches on the year for a guy who, you know, 3 years in a row went well over the century mark.
James Stewart, touchdown, but no, hold up. It does not count. Flag down, and this is just going to add insult to injury.
Well, Miami obviously wasn't playing.
Prior to the snap, Miami, number 29.
So it's not a
Their
penalty.
first charge timeout. It'll be a third.
Sam Madison had called timeout for the Miami Dolphins. So the frustration continues. The Lions still without any points.
But here's why. They had 12 men on the field, and Miami clearly took that timeout before the snap. They just had 1 over the limit.
So it's 1st and goal from the 7. Same place, Stewart to the 3-yard line. As the clock ticks away, 11.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. A reminder, tomorrow night, CBS. Here's the lineup. All new King of Queens starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller. Then Yes Dear, followed by the #1 comedy Everybody Loves Raymond. Then Becker starring Ted Danson, and Monday's #1 drama Family Law. New cast member Tony Danza. All on Monday night, CBS. 10th play of the drive, 2nd and goal. Case incomplete to Johnny Morton, broken up by Sam Madison.
Well, if there's a corner who's going to sit on the fade, it's Sam Madison. It's going to take a little more than this to surprise Sam. He reads it right away. But look, see the key? You see how Madison comes back? He's so confident in himself. He comes back and looks for the football. He doesn't want to be surprised by the ball being thrown a little short and the receiver able to make a reaction without him. So confident, he rides the receiver, looks, and then goes back to work.
On 3rd and goal, Stewart, touchdown. This one will count. And finally, the Lions fans can cheer. 3-yard blast by James Stewart for his 5th score of the year, and undoubtedly Bobby Ross will go for the 2-point play.
And Dave Wanstead is probably thinking, well, you couldn't have done that if Tim Bowens and Zach Thomas would have been in there. But did it? They did.
23-6, 75-yard drive with a Stoney Case coming off the bench. Lead the Lions into the end zone. Mario Bates is the running back now. The throw. Is it called a 2-point play to Morton?
Yes.
He was in the end zone. He was reaching back into the field to play to catch it. That was very close.
Oh, this may get challenged. Who knows about this one? That was really close.
Miami 23, Detroit 8, but that 2-point conversion has been challenged by the Dolphins.
Well, I'm not surprised. There's Johnny Morton to the left. Breaks just inside Patrick Surtain right there. He's in the end zone now. There's where he makes the catch. You can see he lands outside the end zone. Where is the ball? Does the ball ever penetrate that plane of the end zone?
I believe it did.
Well, the key here, Dick, right off the bat is the ruling on the field was that it crossed the plane of the end zone. So we have to see some sort of definitive proof that it never crossed the plane of the end zone, and I'm not sure anything that we're looking at is showing it. Let's look at it from up top. All right, there's Johnny Morton right now coming right back to the goal line.
That's when he falls, he takes the ball back out of the end zone.
I don't think that we're seeing anything that's conclusive enough to overturn the call on the field, which was that it was a successful 2-point play. Jeff Triplett is under the hood.
A very crucial point, however, for the Lions to get the 2 if they're to entertain hopes of 2 more possessions. You get that 2-point to play.
Yeah, every time I look at it, I don't think the ball crossed the plane, but then again, I haven't seen anything that definitive. That's just my thinking that it didn't cross the plane. But the ruling, I don't know that Jeff Triplett has seen enough to overturn the call on the field.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It is a 2-point conversion. Forward progress was stopped in the end zone with a catch. Miami is charged a timeout.
I don't blame Dave Wanstead for challenging that, because it was certainly close enough, and it makes it now a 2-score game. 2 touchdowns and 2 successful 2-point conversions would give Detroit the lead.
There it is once again. Had the ball ruled in the end zone and then fell out of the end zone as momentum, but had established his position in the end zone. And for Miami now, just a little house cleaning. They're down to 1 timeout should that matter later on.
Yeah, you can't get locked up on where his feet were. The football itself must penetrate the plane of the end zone in someone's possession.
So 23-8 it stands, and Hansen kicks it off. J.J. Johnson fumbles the ball, but wisely doesn't try to pick it up on the run. He covers it at the 14-yard line. Larry Foster there to cover for the Lions. After you vote on Tuesday, folks, there's only one place to turn. CBS News, Dan Rather, Mike Wallace, Ed Bradley, Leslie Stahl, Bob Schieffer for complete campaign election night coverage. Experience you can trust Tuesday night on CBS.
Well, if Larry Peccatello, the defensive coordinator for the Lions, can force a 3-and-out here, the excitement level in this building is going to go way up.
It's a big series. Miami was able to stay primarily on the ground, trying to eat up the clock. They're deep in their own end of the 14. The fake to Smith. Fiedler wide open to Gadsden. Knocked out of bounds at the 23.
I don't think he got the first down, though. He's about a half a yard short of that.
Terry Fair, the defensive play.
Hey, give Chan Gailey credit for coming out and passing it on first down, backed up to your own goal line. Boy, what is not to like about Oronde Gadsden? This guy just seems to get better every game he plays.
What a target at 6'2", 215. Has 4 catches today, as you can see. 2nd and 1. Smith, first down and more, out to the 29-yard line. Tracy Scroggins makes the tackle with an assist. Chris Claiborne.
Well, you can see the Dolphins, like most teams, their success when they rush the ball more than 25 times a game. And as you can see, that's exactly how many times they've rushed the ball today.
104 of those yards to that man, Lamar Smith, and the average of 6'1", boosted by that 46-yard touchdown run on the first play of the game. Hand off to Conrad, and the fullback to the 33-yard line, and he's been busier than most games. Rob Conrad from Syracuse. He had carried the ball only 12 times in the first 8 games and had 6 catches. He's been like a workhorse today.
I think of a situation like this, and I think of Dave Wanstead telling us about his interview with Chan Gailey, who of course was the head coach of the Cowboys last year, and saying, you know, you come in, you want to interview a guy for offensive coordinator. They all say, oh, I really believe in the run, and I want to run the ball, and I will run the ball. Dave goes, they're all lying. Chan was the only guy I knew was telling me the truth when he said he will run the football.
2nd down and 6. Draw. Fiedler wide open again, and he slides with the first down out at the 43-yard line. The 44, they'll mark it.
I am stunned that Detroit was fooled by that play. Given this situation, given the fact that it was 2nd and 5, did anybody think that Jay Fiedler was really just going to go into that spread formation and not take off with the football? Again, completely an unprotected middle by Detroit.
This man, a decathlete in his high school and collegiate days. He can throw it and he can run it. And that's exactly, there's his total, 43 important rushing yards to go with a limited passing attack, but a careful one, no turnovers.
And to go with a lead.
Now Lamar Smith. A gain of about 3 to the 46-yard line out of the Ivy League. And the last Ivy Leaguer was also from Dartmouth to play more than 6 games at the start of the season, and that was Jeff Kemp with the Lions, or with the Rams rather, the Los Angeles Rams then. And there are the others. Sid Luckman, of course, the Hall of Famer, the greatest of all Ivy League quarterbacks. But Fiedler done a very responsible job of attending the store, if you will. And Dave Wanstead has been conservative. Don't make mistakes. Don't be afraid to to take a loss now and then. Smith trapped, and Terry Fair gets him down at the 41-yard line, and that'll bring up third down and about 11. It's CBS doubleheader day. We're pleased you've joined us from the Pontiac Silverdome, and stay tuned. Kansas City at Oakland, Denver and the Jets, a big one, and San Diego still looking for its first win of the year up at Seattle. Our game 2 of the DH on CBS.
Well, that was some piece that Armin Katayan had this morning about Bill Romanowski. Of course, Denver coming up later on today as they're at the Meadowlands to play the Jets. Well, guess what, guys, in the Honolulu blue and silver? The quarterback can run, you know.
Got Thurman Thomas in there. All day to throw, and there's Thomas, unable to pull it in. Covered by Marquise Walker, and that'll stop the clock. Incomplete pass with 6:21 left, and the Lions will get the ball.
Very safe, very conservative. Not the end of the world if Thurman wasn't able to pull this in. He might have been able to get away from Walker, who knows. But what they did there, Miami, is they chewed up over 3 minutes of the clock. They got away from their own goal line. A successful drive is not always measured in points.
From the foot of Turk to the hands of Fair. What a kick.
Whoa.
That one's out of the state. Turk and Fair are now usually used in the same sentence by professional football players. Contradiction. And welcome back to the Silverdome, where Miami leading all the way 23-0 until the Lions' last possession, and Stoney Case at quarterback for the injured Charlie Batch. Engineered a long drive, and he starts from the 20. And he goes long. He's got a man open and overthrows Johnny Morton. Oh, Morton was 5 yards behind Brock Marion, and too much arm from Case.
Well, first piece of business is Jimmy Bates, the defensive coordinator in Miami, is trying to think right now, how is it conceivable that in this situation with us protecting a lead, we've got a guy running past our safeties? And that's exactly the case right there. That's just a lack of timing between Case and Morton. But the two receivers coming off the line together somehow dumbfounded the Miami secondary.
Case is wrapped up as Jason Taylor, who started today with 7 sacks, has another as he beats the rookie McDougal at left tackle.
Jason Taylor up there at the top of the screen. He's working opposite. It's actually a pretty good job by McDougal. McDougal runs Jason Taylor all the way around the quarterback, and it wasn't until Case left the pocket that he got sacked.
Case throws complete to Foster, but short of a first down at the 23-yard line. Clock running at 5.5 to go.
I want to give McDougal some kudos here, Dick, for a guy playing his very first National Football League game. The #1 draft choice of the Lions. It looks like they got a keeper. I think he played pretty doggone well today.
He has been on the inactive list. This is his first duty entirely for the year.
There he is. And then when you consider that Aaron Gibson on the other side is in his second year, but in reality his rookie year, because he missed all of last year because of a shoulder problem. Looks like the Lions may have a couple bookends here at tackle for a long time.
Well, the Lions in no hurry to get this punt off. They've used up about 20 seconds getting in punt formation. And finally John Jett. Jeff Ogden at the 30, 40, and out of bounds at the 44-yard line. 5 minutes exactly left in the fourth quarter. Miami 23 and Detroit 8. Flag down. As Lion and Dolphins were still engaged, personal foul way back at the 10-yard line. Jerry Wilson for Miami and Lamar Campbell of Detroit. And,
talk about away from the action.
Campbell's one of the gunners, and Wilson undoubtedly trying to keep him off the play.
I don't know who this is on, but we're talking about a penalty flag thrown maybe 60 yards from where the action was.
After the kick return was out of bounds. Personal foul, 29 Miami. Hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, 29 Miami is Sam Madison. And look at this. They're running this guy all the way to Dearborn. Campbell can't find his way.
And welcome back to the Silverdome with 5 minutes left. Detroit has all 3 of its timeouts. It's 23-8, Miami leading, and there's the lineup, second game of our CBS doubleheader, so stay tuned. Dolphins try to run out the clock now as Fiedler with Lamar Smith over 100 yards rushing today at tailback. Here comes Smith to the 30-yard line.
Well, Dick, the other Lamar in this game is Lamar Campbell of the Detroit Lions, and we saw him get run clear off the field last time. After this timeout, we'll look at it.
Well, I hope so. What a tease. 4:51 left. 2 timeouts left now for Detroit. It's second down and 8. Dolphins have won this game if they do on the ground. And that's a false start. It appeared to be someone on the left side of the line, perhaps Brent Smith, who's playing for
78 offense.
Yeah, Richmond
5-yard
Webb was the
penalty.
guy who jumped.
Repeat second
All
down.
right, let's go back and look at this. Now, this starts at the 23-yard line. Now, talk about negative yardage. Jerry Wilson and Sam Madison run Lamar Campbell out of the end zone. Now, he is the gunner on punt coverage. They run him all the way out of the end zone. I would say conservatively on a straight line. They ran him back maybe about 30 yards. On the roundabout, it might have been 50.
dancing partners don't get that close that long. Fiedler to Smith on the screen, and flags go down as Smith is tackled at the 32-yard line, and the penalty flag back at the 18. James Jones makes the defensive play. It's going to be a hold against Miami. That does 2 things for Detroit: stops the clock and pushes the Dolphins back toward their goal line. And Dave Wanstad, that rubs a sore wound for him.
61 offense.
Tim Ruddy is the guy that gets
Repeat second down.
flagged as a center. It's his responsibility to get out in front of a screen. But what a year Tim Ruddy is having for the Dolphins. He's one of the big reasons that their running game is off to the start they are, as Miami today is going to move into 7-2 and good shape in the AFC East. But everybody will give credit to Ruddy. 7-year guy who's been a good player for years, but has really taken it to a whole different level here in double lock.
Second and 23. Fiedler chased by Jones, holds on to it and is down at the 16-yard line. Chris Claiborne makes the stop, and there's the second Detroit timeout. 4:34 left on CBS. Now third down, 22 at the 16 for Miami. Leading 23-8. 4.5 minutes left. Smith stopped at the 20, and Detroit will probably use their last time out there. First, we'll go to New York.
Well, Dick, up in Foxborough on 4th and goal, the Patriots score with J.R. Redmond. The rookie gets in from a yard out to tie this game at 10. There are now 5 minutes to go in the game. Buffalo ball at its own 12. Let's go back to Dick and Dan.
Thank you, Jim. Of course, that game crucial to New England. They have only 2 wins this year, and Buffalo doesn't want to fall 4-5. Speaking of the AFC East, here's how it looks starting today with the Jets, Indianapolis, and Miami sharing the top spot, but the Jets ahead in division points, 4-1, and Buffalo and New England.
And it looks like Indy's going to get their 3rd loss tagged on them as the Bears are having their way with the Colts.
So timeout with 4:25 left. Detroit has used all of its timeouts. And in the NFC Central, the Lions starting today 2 behind, front running Minnesota, with Tampa Bay, as they seem to do most every year at the break midterm. They seem to put it into an extra gear. Matt Turk very high and very short. And it takes a big Detroit bounce and finally down inside the Miami 40-yard line. A 19-yard punt. As you look at the Lions' remaining schedule, Atlanta here next Sunday, and then at the Giants, New England, at Minnesota.
The weird thing about that, Dick, is they play, of course, New England is here on Thanksgiving Day, but that Minnesota game is the following Thursday. They play Thursday on Thanksgiving, and then they play the following Thursday. That is really a bizarre schedule.
From the 39, Case throws, complete to Moore, and the veteran wisely ducks out of bounds with a first down at the 28-yard line. Stops the clock, 4:09 left. Again, Detroit has used its timeouts, trailing 23-8.
Right now, Dave Wanstead is thinking, come on now. You can see Stoney Case in his brief time in there has crawled within 20 yards of Charlie Batch.
Playing, however, in fairness to Batch, a looser defense for Miami.
And Batch had very little protection and very little in the way of open receivers.
Screen to Bates, and he is wrapped up by Derek Rogers, who has had a very good game at linebacker for the Dolphins today. With Zach Thomas out, Derek Rogers has really picked up the action from his outside linebacker position.
So Derek there doing a good job of holding on. He's in no hurry to get up.
Clock runs, 2nd and 10, no gain on the play. Case down the middle, intercepted to the 20, and it's Brock Marion with his 4th interception of the year to seal it for the Miami Dolphins. Marion, who had 10 career interceptions starting this season and has his 4th pick of this year for Dave Wanstead, whose defense again shows it's one of the better defenses in the league.
Well, this ball from Stoney Case, I don't know what the confusion was with Herman Moore. Herman didn't even appear to be looking for the ball. Stoney Case obviously was expecting Herman Moore to break one way or the other. Boy, that is a big-time miscue there.
And Case is the backup quarterback. He gets some snaps in practice, but not that many. And that articulation between quarterback and receiver missing on a couple of his passes today is Lamar Smith, who has put in a good day's work for the Dolphins with his 100-yard rushing day and a couple touchdowns.
Well, here's Stoney Case and Herman Moore walking off. Well, that's less than attractive between two teammates. Oh, Herman Moore is going to put on a show now. Herman, catch a few more balls.
And now with less emotion, they discuss what went awry.
See there, it's all about reading coverage. It's all about reading which coverage. Herman's saying, I saw this. Stoney is saying, well, I saw something else.
Smith out to the 32-yard line. He now with 113 yards in the game, and the wrestling match out at the 41-yard line.
This is Terry Fair, and they're going, is that Bert Emanuel?
Yes, it is. Emanuel, who hasn't played that much today, and gets in a scuffle, but no harm done. Ball at the 32. Clock will tick down to the 2-minute warning, and 3rd and 4. 510 yards rushing for the Dolphins in the last 3 games, and I know that'll bring a sparkle to the eye of Dave Wanstead.
You got that right there.
Timeout, 2 to go. Miami 23-8. 23-8. The Miami Dolphins with 2 minutes to go, leading here at the Pontiac Silverdome and running out the clock. The Lions can't stop it. And the man, Lamar Smith, racks up another first down for the Miami Dolphins. And it's been a very impressive game. And this was considered, I think the Lions were slight favorites coming in, and Miami has played a solid game both sides of the ball.
They sure have, Dick. And you know what? It makes me want to make Dave Wannstedt one of the leading contenders for Coach of the Year in the National Football League. Keep in mind, this was a team whose last game last year was a 62-7 shellacking by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jimmy Johnson retires, Dan Marino retires, and Dave Wannstedt has to build himself a football team. And the way they have responded from that colossal disappointment of losing to the Jets in overtime, that goes back, in my mind, to outstanding coaching.
Yeah, well, down 17-0 last week to Green Bay. That could have been the start of something very ugly.
I agree.
But Wannstedt finds a way to win, and there's his schedule the rest of the way. They go out to San Diego next week. Big one at home against the Jets. You can see, counting today, 4 or 5 games on the road. That was what he preached all week. You can win on the road. They're unbeaten at home this year, 5-0, 1-2 on the road. He wanted to make the point. He even pulled up statistics this year that if you add it all up, road teams win just as many games as home teams.
And you really touched on it, coming back from that 17-0 deficit last week.
So the kneel down, and that'll be the final play of the game as the Miami Dolphins go to 7-2 on the season, and Detroit drops to 5-4. It started early. The very first play of the game, Lamar Smith rumbles 46 yards for a touchdown, an onside kick, and another Smith touchdown, and that's all Jay Fiedler and the Miami Dolphins needed for the win. A very disappointing day for Bobby Ross and a sellout of 80,000 here at the Pontiac Silverdome. It's been that kind of year for Detroit. When they're good, but they have games like this as well. Don't forget the second half of the CBS doubleheader to follow our action here from the Pontiac Silverdome. Those are the games. We hope you enjoy them, and thank you for being with us here in Michigan, where the Miami Dolphins have won it 23-8. For Dan Deerdorf and Bonnie Bernstein, this is Dick Enberg. So long from the Wolverine State.